Okay, thank you for being here. Hello, thank you for being here. We are on another episode.
I'm a bit stressed right now.
No, you know where I'm gonna edit it.
Huh?
Right between the.
Yeah.
Hello.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Thank you for being
Welcome
here. This is another episode of
Another day in paradise.
So, hi guys. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment. Honestly, we had a blast in the last few episodes. I don't know what you think, but of course we had a blast in all the episodes. But these
Yes.
last ones, we really found our groove, and we really
Definitely.
enjoyed them. So
Definitely.
yeah. All right, Reda. So today I wanted to maybe talk to you about a topic that is rather old, but it keeps coming back. So I mean, it's never outdated, I would say, which is plagiarism, and in all the domains, like
Yeah.
you know, like there is a something that's really cool that this guy had the courage, even though he was anonymous. But I'm talking about copy comics.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, copy comics is, I think he calls himself Ben, and this Ben does a lot of work to try to find, which is, I mean, it's a lot of work because you have to be bilingual and do some research, but he puts two videos side by side, and on one is the original version, usually by great and sometimes not so famous comedians, like their bits, their jokes, etc. And on the other side is people who copied them.
Yes.
What shocked me the most is, number one, they copied some pretty famous ones.
Exactly.
Seinfeld, man. Like,
Yeah.
like what do you think? Like, and he was famous when they copied him already. So they didn't think like, oh, this young man has a funny joke. He probably will never make it. Let me just take his jokes. He was already famous when they copied him. But the thing is, internet was not, I want to say internet was not even available at that time. And then
Yeah,
when it was
Seinfeld is-
available, people were like, yeah, well, yeah, all right, whatever. And they copied them in French. So this is a French guy probably who is bilingual, and he maybe Canadian. Oh, maybe I'm onto something. Let me investigate.
No, and what's crazy is that the guy who copied is perhaps the biggest comedian in France of maybe all time.
At that time, especially. Are you talking about Gad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gad Elmaleh was really, really popular. Now he is still very famous, but not as much as in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I think overall career he must be
of course.
at
He's
least
a
in the
legend.
top two.
Absolutely. In
Yeah.
France, he's like bankable, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw a little skit that he did. You know, the side by
The
side
plain
thing,
one, yeah.
the plain one. And man, you know, like I used to like when I was in school, I used to copy like a homework from friends. I changed a couple of words, you
Dude,
know. He didn't do
exactly.
shit. Like it was like control
Word
C,
by word.
control V. Like
Exactly.
like
He
he,
didn't change
also copied the name,
comma.
you know. Like it's
Dude,
crazy.
That's
It's
what's crazy. I think it's but I have a theory about it, and maybe you can tell me what you think about it. But yes, the second thing that was very shocking is that they didn't change a comma. Like
No,
they
it's
put it word by word.
Bro.
Even the gesture when
Yeah,
he went like
exactly,
these
like
doors, these
the
doors,
body
these doors, you are
language,
fucked, you are fucked.
everything.
He said he did the same thing.
Yeah.
And there are so many comedians who copied exactly the same things. For Cisse, there is another comedian. He's also he did only one stand-up comedy show, 1 hour, but he's more like a comedian who does movies, etc., etc. But he copied like the jump rope thing. I don't know if you heard about it, but anyways, so they don't only copy the words; they also copy the movements and the gestures
No,
and the
it's
like
it's complete.
it's so obvious.
yeah.
It's very hard. It makes it very hard to deny, to say, oh, I was just inspired.
Yeah.
So, do you? So in France, there are some very very big comics in the same vibe. Of course, all the proportions are maybe not the same, but as Dave Chappelle, Seinfeld, etc., we have in France Gad
there's
Elmaleh,
a
Jamel
huge
Debbouze,
comedy scene.
Jamel Debbouze, etc., etc. So
How did you pronounce it? Jamal the Bee.
Jamel,
Jamel,
like Jawad, Jamel. He's getting there. He's getting
nice. I like it.
there. So he listen. The shocking thing is, and Benati, you know the short one. Anyways,
Yassine Belata.
yes, no, not Yassine.
Who?
The short one, I forgot his name. But anyways, he's originally from Morocco. That's why I remember
Okay.
him. But he was also very famous, and he copied that. He said, "Oh, Jamel Debbouze, he copied Dave Chappelle."
Really?
You know when Dave Chappelle has a skit where like he goes inside his apartment and he realizes he got robbed and he calls the police and he says, "My apartment is too nice for me. They're gonna think it's me." And, and the police comes in and it says, "Open the shut case. We got him. He's still here." No, it's my apartment. Like
Yeah,
they
like,
would never believe a black man in this neighborhood has such a nice apartment.
The suspect puts pictures of him
of
all
his
over,
family.
of
Oh
his
my God!
family
Oh,
all
he's right
over.
here. I got him.
Yeah.
Send a unit. Send a unit.
And it's crazy because, what I find personally the most shocking is that, at least for Jamel Debbouze, and I think for Gad Elmaleh as well, Elmaleh.
I see
you know?
your vibe. Okay.
What was shocking is that they did that copying thing when they were already like booming,
Famous.
You know, like it's not like it was the
That's
beginning
true.
of a career
That's
that they
true.
were struggling. Like they were already on top of their game,
That's true.
and
Gad
for
Elmaleh,
several years, maybe a decade.
definitely, like they were already making it big. And Gad Elmaleh had a very famous comedy show where he was inspired by his origins because he is originally from Morocco, etc., etc. And we are sure that this one he didn't copy
No,
from anybody because it's very personal.
It was very like it was inspired by his
course.
family members,
upbringings, etc. And now when he copied that, it's like, man. So, do you know how Gad Elmaleh defended himself? Because it was a big shock. The shock wave was huge, but then it died out.
Yeah.
And they are still working. They are still doing great things.
And you know what's the funniest part is that Seinfeld and Gad
Became friends.
Are friends, and he helped him out like to
True.
actually do his show in the US, which
That's
didn't
true.
work very well for him, to be honest.
Yeah, Gad Elmaleh lived in Canada, so he spoke English already a little bit.
But it's another thing
reason
to
why
be
I say, exactly.
funny in English.
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
hard to be funny in a language. You really have to master all the small like nuances, etc., before you can start being funny.
Or
in a
at
language.
least stay in your lane. Like a lot of people, I think there's this Hispanic comedian. I'm not sure who it is, but his whole comedy is about him not speaking English properly. So he makes like a play on words and stuff like that that he understands. That can be funny, but trying to be like, at the same level as a native comedian.
I disagree with you.
it's a bit hard.
I don't think he was trying to be a Dave Chappelle. I think he knew that he was not gonna get the Dave Chappelle vibe or the Seinfeld or whatever.
I think he tried to be a Seinfeld.
Well, he tried to be funny, of course. I think stay in your lane. Well, we are doing a podcast in English.
No, what I mean is it's hard. Like
It is
to be
hard, but
funny.
hey, why not try?
If you are struggling with the language, you can be funny in that struggle.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, use that to be
Use
funny.
that to be funny.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what I meant.
that's true. I think he tried to play a part that he was not.
He wasn't ready.
He wasn't it. Yeah, and you know what? I thought he was courageous to do it, and also he was courageous to show. He started with very small scenes, and he said, people said, it was not that good. Like the guy who was like the curator or whatever, his agent, he said, yeah, man. He said, so what did you think? Tough crowd today. No, he said, no, the crowd is good. I mean, you're just not good. And he kept that on the show And he showed it on the video, and I thought it was courageous of him, like
No,
a little
definitely.
bit of like, okay, all right, man.
But
just-
he went, like, in the French scene. There's nothing more to do. Like, he was on top of everything.
oh no, I don't
on,
think.
on top of movies, top
Okay,
of shows,
okay.
and everything. I think like that he really wanted a new challenge, but maybe I don't know.
It was too big for him, maybe.
Maybe he got exposed and started doing those Netflix shows and stuff a bit too early.
I mean, the Netflix shows are just recently. Honestly, I didn't watch any of them, but
Thank God.
Because he's
Because it wasn't good.
Thank God. See what I did there? The God del ballet. Thank God. Ah, boy, oh boy. So
That was the level of God in the US.
that
by
was
the
God's
way.
level.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, when his manager told him, or the theater manager or small whatever comedy club manager said, no, man, you're not good. Your English is not good enough. He said, what do you mean? I speak English. No, it's not good enough to master it where you can be funny in it. Like it's
Yeah, you need
you're
to
missing
understand
something.
the
You're missing
slang,
something.
the
Yeah,
wording
it's-
and stuff like that.
the
The play on
word-
word. Yeah.
So he tried. It was not good. Seinfeld became his friend later,
Mm-hmm.
and the way he defended himself, because he did Comedian with Cars, Getting Coffee with
Yeah,
Seinfeld.
yeah.
I will always have sympathy for Gad because I don't know, because he has a little bit of us as Moroccans.
He's a homeboy.
He's a homeboy, and
Yeah.
no, but like also the way he speaks, the way he thinks, like I can relate to the way he says.
100%.
Come on now, like the way we do it in Morocco, like
Yeah, yeah.
Italians, they would maybe go like this. So he has his some moves that remind me of home, and I feel comfortable with it. But as a comedian, he lost me. I don't think he's funny. I watched one of his shows with the one he did with the young guy. Anyways, he had a duo.
Kev Adams.
Kev Adams.
Yeah, well,
It was
he's trying to actually.
horrible.
He's trying
Horrible.
with the US and with the Kev Adams thing. He's
Yeah.
trying to reach
Stay relevant.
another audience that
Yeah.
he didn't win over, because his audience, let's be honest, is getting
It's getting older. Yeah,
older,
for sure.
and
for sure.
maybe has less interest in his in the comedy scene in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So going back to how he tried to
Mm-hmm.
defend himself, because he worked with Seinfeld, and he said, "Well, it was an homage. I didn't copy him."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if you go to the bank and you take all the money, it's not an homage to the
That's-
bank. You are stealing.
That's the
Something that
beauty
doesn't
of
belong to
art,
you.
bro.
I don't know, man.
You
It's a
can
tough
take
one.
anything, replicate it, and say, I was inspired by it.
Okay. So the reason why it didn't work, because he followed it by another argument by saying, well, how could you, like, where he dressed as Shushu or whatever, one of his character that made him really famous, and it was inspired by a movie, etc. Anyways, so he used the best character to mock people who are criticizing him for this, because it rained down on him really hard, like him and all the others. But he had the balls, I would say, to explain himself, because the French media is pretty good at like getting to the bottom of things. And he said, well, how could you criticize 30 years of career and reduce it to a sketch of 5 minutes that I supposedly stole? Dude, how could you reduce a 50-year-old man life by the 2 minutes it took him to kill somebody? Well, but yeah, you still have to pay for this, bitch. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not like the way you do something is the way you do everything. And I think, they say God lives in God is in details. Dude, just admit it. And I hate when people just don't have the balls to say, man, listen, I'm sorry, I messed up. I was weak. They offered me, my writers offered me this line. I kind of heard it. I kind of knew it was not, I heard it. They told me it was this, there was that.
Never heard it before, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
like
Or-
a writer brought it to me. I found it funny,
And that's my theory. I think they all had the same manager, one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they asked him, and they said, "Hey," well, he obviously refused to answer any question. He made them really famous at that time. He still works with them right now. And Kader Aoun, I think. I don't know if you heard about him. So he, I think he had writers, and they brought him like
Yeah.
jokes, and they just
Because
took them.
this is one thing that a lot of people forget is that every comedian usually has, especially like big time ones, has
Yeah.
a team of writers,
Yeah.
testers as well. Like this is something I didn't know, where they actually give lines to like young comedians on small scenes to test them out and see if they work.
Interesting.
And
And sometimes themselves they go and they try them in small scenes. Like they would never go try it on a big scene. They would go in
Yeah.
the small comedy clubs and they would try jokes.
like we even in more traditional lines of work, you see like when people slack a bit in their work within the chain of work, sometimes it bites you in the ass. Like if you're using like pictures in a website, for instance,
True.
and the guy who's supposed to gather the images, you tell him like make sure that they're all royalty free and stuff, and he just goes on Google and takes the first one, and it happens to be the one used by Apple or something. Well, you have to pay, and you're not gonna say, "Oh, it's the small guy,
It's his
the
fault."
trainee
Well-
that was supposed to do this." It's at the end, it's the big guy.
That's true.
So,
That's true. But you
but
know,
that's the beauty once again of art, where the line between plagiarism and being inspired is very thin.
you know, there is like plagiarism for comedians. Sorry, but there is also plagiarism when it comes to in another domain, music.
Of course.
There was like Pharrell. He made a song with whatever, and he got sued. And he said, "No, I never heard it before." Here is one that stuck with me,
Yeah.
and I don't mean to like beat a dead horse, but Shakira, she's not in a good place right now. Her husband just, I think they're divorced. They are some like she's not in a good place. But I'm sure if
Financial problems?
Shakira, if you hear this, listen, it's not personal, but send me a DM. We'll figure something out. So, anyways, Shakira, the one of her very famous song. That of course I forgot again. but-
Whenever.
Is it the whatever? No,
Let's say
no.
it's that
It
one.
was
It's
it
okay.
was the World Cup one.
Oh.
Na ni na ni na ne ne waka waka eh.
The
The Waka one.
Yeah.
She said people said it was like a spectacular song, super famous. Like it was,
Yeah.
you could hear it everywhere in the
It's
world.
actually one of the best songs done for
True.
for an event ever.
Absolutely. So
And it's,
she probably
international,
cashed out like in a lot of money there. Like she cashed in a lot of money. But anyways, people said, how did you write this song? And she said, I was back home. I think she's from Venezuela or something originally. Colombia. Okay.
Come on, bro.
Okay, of course, Colombian. Okay, yeah, the way
It's
she
written
moves.
right
man.
here,
It says it right here, right? We have notes. No, we don't. We barely know what we're gonna be talking about like 2 minutes before.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she said she was going back home
Mm-hmm.
from a walk or whatever, and she thought, okay, oh, that's pretty cool. She ran into her house before she forgot the song. She took a guitar, a pen, and a paper, and she started waka waka. Okay, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. People were like, "Oh my God, you're so good, such a genius!" Because there is always a little bit of extra admiration when you
When
are
you're a
you are
creator.
not only the interpreter, you are also the creator,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
author. That meant like yeah, cool. But when you realize that most singers they write songs for them and they don't really write them.
But if I can be devil's advocate for a second.
Okay, but I didn't say. I
Alright.
didn't say. Let me finish very
Okay,
quickly.
go ahead. My bad.
Then they realized it was a very old song. I think from Portugal or something. And when you listen to Waka Waka from Shakira and the original Waka Waka, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
At least don't lie. Internet is here. We will find you. So she said, "Oh, I was back home," and she could have said, "Well, I worked with my team and we collaborated, so maybe she could like throw the burden on them." But she said, no, no, no. I was walking back home and I was thinking, waka, waka, okay, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know.
All right. So I'm gonna give you a little story here. All right? Bear with me.
Sure.
I'm gonna take 5 minutes
No,
of
all
your
right.
time.
Sure.
You know our field, our
Yes.
common field, graphic
Yes.
design, right?
Yes, yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with that experience where they brought in like three famous logo designers
Okay.
to make a logo for I think it was a company that used to make toys.
Okay, like Toys R Us or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So they put them each one in the room and told them like, okay, here's the what we want you to like. Here's what the company is and stuff like that. Can you make a logo? And they all three made the same logo.
The exact same logo,
Like all the elements were the exact same.
same colors, same everything.
Yeah, like small details change, of course, but
Okay.
like it was basically the same.
So
logo.
how do you explain this?
And basically they did something where on the way to the actual office.
They had
They-
subliminal messages.
Exactly. They start hitting them with stuff like a teddy bear, a door that is a certain color, a big panel with a certain color, all that stuff. And that goes to show that there is, in the creative process, a lot of subconscious stuff,
of
right?
course.
So in terms of music, you know, like you can be like getting in the Starbucks. There's a song in the background that you're not listening to with your conscience, but subconsciously you start getting
Yeah,
it and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So I can understand that Shakira was maybe having a Starbucks that day and came back home
Yeah, well,
with a melody in her head.
you know, like it's very, very funny that you mentioned that.
I know you don't like.
No, no, I think it's a good point because there is another comedian. I don't know what it is, but I forget all the names.
Let's call him Brian.
No, he's a very famous comedian. Oh my God, he was cancelled because he asked
French, American.
American. He was cancelled because his name is Louis
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
Okay.
Louis C.K. has a show called Louis, a really, really good show. And he talked about it with another comedian that, of course, I forgot his name. Fuck it. Anyways. And he copied him and he confronted him in his, they made an episode kind of funny, etc. And he said, no, I didn't copy you, but maybe we had the same idea. He said, yeah, but it's impossible. I mean, look, we have the same line here, the same line here, the same setup, the same this, the same that. You can't. I said, no, but maybe this, maybe that. So, and he said that maybe subconsciously we got inspired by the same thing. Maybe I heard it, but subconsciously I didn't mean to copy you. I just, it just happened subconsciously and I created the same thing. I totally forgot that I heard it from you. I thought it was invented by me. My brain played a trick on me. Honestly, it's possible, but sometimes when a song is like very, very old from the 60s, whatever, and you will not hear it in Starbucks, you will not hear it anywhere. Like it would not be on radio, very popular on radio. You probably heard it or somebody brought it to you. I think the mistake that those artists make is that they like to take credit for their jokes or for their music or whatever.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's one of their team's members who like brings them, oh, I found this and I hope, I will get paid for it. I will, whatever. And I hope I don't get find out, but they do. And the comedians, of course, or the artists, they don't really have the time or they don't have the whatever to check. And, but speaking about designs, sometimes before I get a logo, sometimes when somebody says, make me a logo for this or what I make a logo for myself, it's very hard if you get inspired and you go on whatever, Pinterest or you go on some websites and you start being inspired, at one point you got to say, okay, stop. Because the more you look at them, the more you're going to be tempted to copy. It's going to be almost like harder to not copy if you find something you really like. So I don't want to find something perfect that I really like. just want to get a vibe. Like look at 5, 6 logos. Like for example, if I do a real estate one, I will look into what's the style right now, and my style is always the same, minimalism, etc., which is almost like which is yours as well. So I don't want to look too much into it because it will be harder for me not to copy. So usually I'm like, okay, just tell me. The more you tell me about what you want, what your company is, then I will bring something from my brain. Because if I look into, like, if I look it up too much, I will end up copying something. So yeah, it's.
But it can happen.
It can happen. It can
You know,
happen.
like, and even if it's not your intention.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
in my personal experience, I had like to stay on the logo side, for instance. I had logos where I spent. You know, you have two types of approaches. You have like usually it follows the budget, but usually it's either like you're like, okay, he wants a logo. Okay, let's figure something out. Okay, this works, right? And you have like the real logo where you do the research and you test stuff out and you go into like color psychologies and all that stuff, right? Well, I had a logo where I went through that full process, right? And at the end, I was thinking, oh, it's missing something. Let me get inspired, see what's out there. Go to see what's out there, find the exact same thing.
Yeah, like I said, it could work. It
like,
could.
I don't know.
It happened to me too, to be honest. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I saw so many, and then usually I try to get inspired the first day, and then I don't like to make a logo that right there. Like it needs to brew in a little bit before I start purging out logos. So usually it's a day or two after. Yeah, it could happen. You know, one day I was at the university, and they told me that I was doing some plagiarism. And I said, really? On my paper? No. I work a lot. I said, it's impossible. Are you sure? He said, yeah. And in reality, I was plagiarizing myself. On another class, we had almost the same topic. So I took some of the paragraphs that I wrote and I put them there. And I heard the professor said, I don't know if it's true or not, but they have like a software where they can like check, and they had a match, and he didn't even care to see whose match it was. Oh, it's a match, so he plagiarized. Okay. So I said, no, this is my other paper, and this is my paper. And he said, no, you cannot plagiarize even yourself.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Because you did this work for this professor. You cannot submit the same project for another class. But yeah, I wrote it. So it's like, well, I'm copying myself. I just don't want to do the work twice. And I didn't copy the whole thing. I just took some paragraphs. And he said, yeah, no, you can't do that. So
yeah, that's bullshit.
It is, man. It is. So I don't know. It's I think we all get inspired. Like this podcast is a mix of a lot of podcasts we both watch.
True.
So, and even personalities. Your personality is you are computing many personalities that you think are cool.
They say you're the average of the people
around you. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. So
must have a lot of dumbasses around you.
So yeah, I mean, I think we are always getting inspired, watching things around us, and we think, oh yeah. And even like, you know, when we go buy clothes, like you buy clothes, you buy underwear, and it's like you see like this guy has like a 6-pack and a Colgate smile, and it's like, wow, cool. If I wear, you will wear the underwear, you're not gonna look like him. So, but we try to plagiarize the image that we see.
Yeah, well, that's marketing in general.
True. Yeah. So they always, you go to IKEA, they have small, like showrooms where that would look really cool, but your house does not look like that.
Exactly.
But you try to copy this and bring it to your house, or a piece of it to your house, but
it looks so good in the store with that all that stuff. Like when you bring it home, it's like
dude. When I was a student in the States, I used to go to IKEA sometimes, and my apartment was like shit, dude. I was not rich, and I go to IKEA. I'm like, man, I wish this was my house. And I go back to my house, I get a mini depression. I'm like, what the fuck am I living
Yeah.
in? Like this, I live in a shithole. Like, and it's like the perfect colors, the perfect size. If I could take one of the small studio showroom that they have and bring it anywhere, I would be super happy. But then again, it's always an attempt to plagiarize what we see and copy what we see. And, but I still honestly don't have any respect for people who artists like those comedians. Honestly, I lost a lot of respect.
True. But it's their reaction as well. You know,
Especially their reaction.
like
I agree.
if they were like,
Listen, we
this-
screwed up. It was
this
the
wasn't
90s.
my,
Sorry.
this wasn't my intention. Like for instance, if Shakira was like listens to the songs and be like, yeah, it's exactly the same. I must have heard it. And honestly, if I was that artist, I would probably say the same. And they should be compensated. I just made shitload of money on
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Let
But
me
they
throw
sued
it-
her. They sued her and they took
Yeah.
some of her money, which I'm sure she would be like, listen, like you said, just man up to your shit.
Exactly.
And I think that I would respect them so much more. Only one manned up, and he wrote like an idea, like a business card where he said, Rue de la Pompe, like I'm taking ideas from people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And so it's his way of admitting it and making it a little bit, giving it a funny twist. But for me, I would say, listen, I screwed up. It was the 90s. I was inspired. I don't know what happened exactly.
And
I heard the
would
song.
pay
I love the
homage.
song. But to say, oh, it was an homage, come on.
No, but at least do it the right way. Like, and by admitting your guilt, like, I'm sorry, I had to take it. That joke, look, it was funny twice, bro.
Yeah.
Do you imagine the level of?
It was funny 20 years later. And
Like, and it's crazy. And
there is a famous case of Carlos Mancia. Do you know? He's a chubby Mexican dude. And I say Mexican, not really Mexican. He's from Ecuador or something. But he pretended to be Mexican because even being Ecuadorian was not good enough. And he pretended to be Mexican. And Joe Rogan actually confronted him. He was in...
he came to his podcast.
No. He was in the Comedy Cellar, very famous comedy club in the States, of course, for people who are not in the States and listening to us. So very, very famous one, but it's a rather small one where people try out jokes before they get like 1 hour special on Netflix or whatever, HBO. So the Mancia was like notoriously stealing jokes from people, all of them. And he would like go to the store, do his set, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. Then he would sit down and literally, if you say something funny, he would write it down. And Joe Rogan confronted him and he said, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. You're stealing.
Now I see what you're
Carlos
talking about.
Mencia, blah, 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 blah. And first thing, he went on Opie and Anthony show back in the days. And he said, well, of course I will steal from you. If you say something funny, you better be careful, bitch. I will take it from you because of course, blah, 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 blah. And he had this approach of like, yeah, it's normal. Everybody does it. Of course I'll do it. Hey, listen, wake up. Don't be so naive.
Yeah.
And then he thought, he was like, it's not flying really well there. It's not coming across as a good thing. So, and he backpedaled and he said, oh no, of course, my career is like 40-year career. I'm the top of my game. I'm like the best, the most famous comedian. And he was very famous. Like he had specials left and right. But I would never do it. And if I did it, it was probably just, we were inspired by the same idea. But of course, then again, it was not copy comics, but they put them side by side and he took verbatim everything. Listen, I think everybody can make mistakes, but when you don't man up to your mistakes, that makes it even worse. You dig a bigger
100%.
hole. And now he's canceled.
Yeah. Well, how can he like?
But those comedians, the French comedians, they are doing great.
Yeah, but because at the end of the day, we judge people on the intention, right? And if they get to a point where they sell you at least the idea that it wasn't their intention to just take steal content from other comedians and just throwing it back, and Because even when you say it's homage and all that stuff, it's a way of, even if it's not like clearly said, it's a mea culpa. In a way.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. You
But
at least
if you
admit
come,
you did
yeah,
copy, but it wasn't
if you
homage.
come and you say, "Yo, bro, it's the law of the jungle," you know, like
Yeah, if I like it,
eat
I'll
or
take
be
it. I'm
eaten.
stronger than you.
No.
I'll take it. Yeah, I
So
think it's a shame that they do that. It's really and honestly, like everything, it's even a bigger shame that you didn't man up to it. I know Jamel Debbouze was like, "Yeah, no, I would never do that. How would you say I did this? Like that's crazy for you to say this, blah blah blah." And then they showed him. They said, "So how do you explain this?" Well, I don't really explain this. It's interesting. Comedy word is interesting, and he was like digging a hole. They're just saying, "Oh, you know, it's
yeah,
interesting."
but he sold well the fact because his reaction at least felt genuine of like, oh
Embarrassed.
yeah, it looks similar, but it's funny. I know my intention, so it's funny how comedy world works, you know, like, and
Yes.
maybe he had like kind of like the same reaction when I saw the logo that I just did
Yeah.
online, and it was maybe posted 3-4 months before,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to explain. Maybe I saw it at some point when I was looking for another project, and
Yeah,
it stayed in my
subconsciously,
mind
yeah, you just-
subconsciously.
yeah,
But
yeah.
at the end, like I couldn't get myself to deliver that logo because, well, I think the worst case you can have as if a client tells you, okay, looks a bit like this one,
I would like die.
because it happened to me with
Me too.
with
Me too.
with other when I actually hired designers for some work I wanted to do, and I just googled like the first template
Yeah.
of that subject,
And
the
it was
first
it.
link. That's what they delivered,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and
That's lame though. Yeah.
I would never, ever, ever want to be in that position because it was like a boardroom with like 7-8 people talking shit about yeah, we did a focus group, and then we did this, and then
Yeah,
like
the
they
idea
sold
was
the
to do
whole
that,
idea
yeah.
so much, and I was like, can I use your computer real quick?
And
All
then
right,
here it is. What are you talking about? It's
all
a
right,
template,
nice.
man. He
You
didn't even
changed the
change
logo though. Kudos.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you know when I had a design brand of t-shirts. I was
Yeah, yeah.
printing on shirts, etc. And I was trying to get inspired. And I talked to a guy who was selling like high-end shirts and clothes
Mhm.
in general. And I said, should I do this or should I do that? He said, listen, you will not reinvent a t-shirt. Just copy the ideas that you like. You put them all together, all the ideas that you like. You combine them in one website, and this is your website. This is your identity. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I feel comfortable. Honestly, that's what I tried to do, but it still failed.
Well, it's the sad reality.
It's sad reality. So I think also something about the logos before we close this topic is that what I learned, and I don't know what you think about it, even though we are drifting from the topic, but a logo is good. It's important, but some businesses believe that if they have a good logo, they will be a success. If they have a bad logo, it's what's behind the logo. When you look at Nike, it's just like a swoosh.
Mhm.
If you look at Adidas, it's just three stripes.
Mhm.
Honda and Hyundai, they're almost the same thing. It's like the H in italic or the H like straight, but it's the work that you do behind your logo that's gonna push you through. Of course, even an ugly logo could be very successful. Like
Yes.
I think like I don't know, like a Hyundai logo. I don't think it's a particularly good one, but Hyundai is a pretty good brand.
True.
So Kia, it's like whatever. I don't know. Like logos are not everything. Like
No.
you need to do serious work behind your design.
But
work.
having a good identity, because logo by itself doesn't mean a lot. Like having
Yeah.
good identity,
Yeah,
and an identity that makes sense, because there are like things that come out of a logo. They can encourage trust. They can encourage a lot of
course.
stuff.
But it's what you put behind it. It's
But
not the logo itself.
It's exactly that. Like to come back to your T-shirt thing.
Thank you.
You can have all the T-shirts in the world, the same designs, the same stuff, but there's also a big part on what you on marketing, that means that what you sell, the idea of what you're selling, and what you're delivering at the end. And it plays more. Like, you can have a shitty product and have good marketing and
make it big time.
Make it big time, and have an amazing product and have everything great, like top of the line, but not knowing how to sell it. And
You know the good example for it? We're not going to mention it, the name, but there is a nice burger place right next door. Their designer is good. The
Amazing.
logo is good. The place looks good. The food is just subpar. It's not bad. It's just not
it
great.
was good at some point.
Yeah,
so-
but it's not great.
but yeah.
So their design is much better than their content.
Well, we live in an era where a lot of restaurants, foods, places are more judged on how they look than how they actually taste. Like because
I
people
disagree with that.
love to share, and like if you
Okay.
make a restaurant where it's like easily Instagrammable and the plates look with like
Which is the case for that burger place.
Yeah.
But it's still not making it big. I hope it's not the case, but I think it will not be open in a year.
probably
Yeah. But
probably.
their designer is great. Their logos are great. They have neon everywhere. It's really cool place. Like aesthetically, it looks really good. But it's not enough to make a business last forever for a long time. I mean, when you think about McDonald's, like a
Yeah.
M in yellow, it's not that great of a logo, but hey, McDonald's is doing fantastic. And speaking of which, check out this logo right here. And for people who don't know about this logo, this guy right here, it's me. It is me. I have the same
You
glasses.
do have the same glasses.
I have the same glasses, and in the morning I have the same haircut, and I almost have the same body type. But my legs are not that skinny. I have actually, my body type is even worse than that. So, all right. So, guys, thank you so
All right.
much. I think we're going to shut it down for tonight.
Yep.
Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, to comment.
share.
I know some of you guys are following us religiously. Thank you so much. It's a really good feeling to have even 10, 15, 20 views. Honestly, we are having a blast, and I hope you are having a blast as well. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Peace out.
See you next week.